Today in our 2014 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the Roadmaster battery charge line kit for towed vehicles. When we want to tow our Jeep, we're going to need a base plate, tow bar wiring, the tow bar itself, as well as a braking system. Now specifically for our Jeep, we're also going to need an automatic battery disconnect, as well as a charge line kit to make sure our battery stays charged. Whenever we flat tow our Jeep, the last thing we want is when we get to our destination, the battery to be dead. But since we're going to be flat towing it, the alternator is not going to be charging the battery. And if you have a supplemental braking system, that can wear it down. But that's where our charge line kit is going to come into play. It's going to take the power from our motorhome and transfer it through our Jeep and charge our battery, so when we get where we're going, we don't have to worry about jumping it or taking time to hook up a charger. And our charge line is going to be a very simple setup. We're going to have a wire coming from the front of our Jeep that's going to come to this breaker. Then we're going to have another wire coming from the other post in our breaker going to the positive post in our battery. This is going to make sure that our battery is charged when we get there, but it's only going to charge at a max of 15 amps, so we don't have to worry about overcharging our battery. One thing I do want to mention, in order for our charge line kit to work, we're going to need a 12-volt power source at the back of our 7-way on our motorhome. Now if you don't have that 12 volts, there is a charge line kit made for the motorhome side so we can supply the power we need. So if you're tired of getting to the campground and having a dead battery, or stopping your trip every couple hours just so you can start your Jeep and let it charge, our charge line is going to take care of that and be a lot easier than hooking up a charger and having to deal with all that. But now that we've seen what it looks like and gone over some of the features, let's show you how to get it installed. To begin our installation, we're going to come to the plug that's on the front of our vehicle for our towed wiring. We're going to go ahead and remove this. That way we can get access to the back of the plug and the wires on the inside. So we'll go ahead and remove the tape and remove the dust cover as well. Now that we have the plug exposed, we're going to grab our red wire from our kit and we'll strip back the end of it. Now this is going to be going into the auxiliary port, which is going to be the center pin on our 6-way. So I'll loosen up the set screw, put my wire in, and then we'll tighten up the screw. I'm going to pass my red wire through the back of the boot and pull all the slack out, and we can slide the cover back in place. Now what I like to do, just to make sure that we're not going to have any corrosion or moisture get inside, is I like to come to the back side and I'm going to fill the boot up with dielectric grease. And I'm just going to wrap up the boot and the connector with some electrical tape, hopefully preventing anything from getting inside that connector. I'm going to go ahead and reconnect my connector back to the front of my Jeep. Now we're going to run our red wire up towards our battery. Now everybody's going to do it a little bit differently, but you just want to stay away from any major heat sources or any moving parts that could damage the wire. And keep in mind that the battery is going to be on the passenger side close to the windshield. So I'll go ahead and run this, and then I'll show you how I routed it. So I ran my wire behind the skid plate, and I ran it over towards the passenger side. Then I fed it up right by my power steering reservoir here. And you can see the red wire going along the edge here, and ran along the outside edge, going towards the firewall, went underneath this panel, and had it stop right by my battery. So we can grab our breaker, and we're going to have 2 tabs. That's going to be so we can mount it up. In our kit, they are going to give us a couple self-tapping screws. So I think I'm going to mount my breaker right here, right into this metal panel here, so it'll be out of the way of the battery, but it's also close enough that we can still make our connections. So I'll take a 5/16 nut driver, and I'm going to put my self-tapping screws going through the holes on our breaker. So we're going to take our red wire, and we're going to see how much wire we need to reach the copper or gold colored post on our breaker. Give ourselves a little bit of extra, and we'll cut our wire, and we're going to strip back the end of the excess as well as the wire we just cut. We're going to grab a small ring terminal and place it over the end of our stripped wire, and we'll crimp it in place. We'll do that for our other excess wire as well. So we're going to take the wire that we ran from the front of our plug, and we're going to attach it to the copper colored post. So we'll remove the nut, slide our ring terminal over, and then replace the nut hand tight for right now. We can grab the excess wire with our ring terminal and we'll put it on the silver post, and we'll tighten up the nut. So now we'll take the free end of our red wire, we're going to strip it, and this time we want to grab the large ring terminal from our kit and we'll crimp it on the end of our wire. This is going to need to go to the positive side of our battery, so we can grab a socket and take off one of the nuts. So we'll grab a 10mm socket and we'll loosen up one of the nuts on top here. We'll remove the nut and slide our ring terminal over the top and then tighten it back up. We're going to take some time and clean up any of the excess wires to make sure they're not going to interfere with anything. And lastly, just don't forget to tighten up the two nuts on the breaker themselves. And to tighten these up, you can either use a 10mm socket or a 3/8 socket. Now to make sure we have a good connection between our battery and our 6-way on the front of our Jeep, I'm going to take my circuit tester and I'm going to test that center pin to make sure I am getting power to it. So we are getting power from our Jeep's battery, but when we hook up our motorhome, it's going to send power through that center pin and charge our battery for us. That'll finish up your look at the Roadmaster battery charge line kit for towed vehicles on our 2014 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited.